We are going to talk about a movie.
This is gonna be a disaster.
It was one of the best movies of the year.
It's gonna go so well. Probably one of the last movies I would ever want to see in a theater.
Hello and welcome to 10 Years On. I am your host, Jacob London, and I am joined by my wonderful panel, as always, Taylor Robinson. How you going?
I'm good. This is gonna be another interesting week. This was a fun time. That's really all I can say at the moment.
That is one way to describe it. Alright, Nick, how you going?
I'm good. Look, it's Valentine's Day weekend for this release date, and there's definitely something for everyone and a lot of stuff for no one. So it'll be an interesting week.
Peter?
That's a weird thing to be like, it's Valentine's Day weekend, so there'll be something for everyone and stuff for no one.
Well, it is Valentine's Day weekend on February the 12th. Thank you so much for joining us on episode 6 of 10 Years On. We have 3 wide release films to talk about today. Valentine's Day, The Wolfman, and Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief, as it was called in Australia. Guys, this was a rough week. I'm not gonna lie. This was a pretty rough
Guys,
week.
we've arrived at my favorite part of the week, which is where we get to hear who got paid to write these descriptions and who got paid to put these posters together.
Oh man,
And I'm really just, this has become my favorite. Like, this is the beacon of light at the end of the movie tunnel.
that's a good way of putting it. Actually,
Like, I'm like, oh, is Valentine's Day going to be about a bunch of conservatives? Probably.
Well, let us kick off with Valentine's Day, which opened in 3,665 theaters. It was the widest released film for this week. Intertwining couples and singles in Los Angeles break up and make up based on the pressures and expectations of Valentine's Day. This poster is
Guys.
god-awful.
what is that shape? Like, what is the point?
Because on the DVD cover, it's actually a love heart, so it actually looks
Dude,
better
I think
than just weird.
I think the IMDb poster is actually worse.
This is a bad poster.
Like,
Also-
that
And
is...
like, all right, we'll have
just-
some of them with faces and then some of them with weird.
What the frick is that?
That's awful. It's kind of great because obviously some are like stills from the movie, like Bradley Cooper, because he was like, hey, look, I only have to be on this plane for like 2 days of shooting and I'm going to do no fucking marketing for this movie. Taylor Lautner, they've obviously taken from like maybe a red carpet still and they've just been like, let's zhuzh it up a little bit.
And then like, okay, we'll have Jessica Biel, Jessica Alba, Taylor Swift, Bradley Cooper with the close-up faces, and then have Eric Dane full body.
Look at Jamie's though. Look at Jamie's.
He's like, I don't want to fucking be here.
That's way too close.
Like,
Yeah.
it's like...
It's super zoomed in. Yeah. Oh god, there are some.
Oh,
Like,
the more you look at it.
like, who chose these photos?
And
Like,
who-
what?
This is the Josh Duhamel, what is everyone looking at sort of thing as well. Like there is no consistent, like Ashton Kutcher's looking at me
and
everyone
George
else is
Lopez
looking
is just
away.
happy to be there.
So let's actually discuss who is actually in
Yeah,
this
let's
film.
go through the list because you're meeting people for like 20 minutes.
Oh, yeah. All right. Jessica Alba, Kathy Bates, Jessica Biel, Bradley Cooper, Eric Dane, Patrick Dempsey, Hector,
Elizondo.
that one, Jamie Foxx, Jennifer Gardner, Topher Grace, Anne Hathaway, Carter Jenkins, Ashton Kutcher, Queen Latifah, Taylor Lautner,
And that's-
Taylor Swift. There's more.
There's more, but we gotta click to the see more cast
wow.
button.
George Lopez, Shirley MacLaine, Emma Roberts, Julia Roberts, Taylor Swift, Larry Miller. Wow, this
This is like this is the movie trying to be the new Love Actually, where it's like let's get a huge cast of like famous people and just write a couple of cute love stories, and everyone will only have to work for a week. Like they will give them a lot of money to only do a little bit of work, so everyone's like, fuck yeah, payday. It's awful. This movie sucks.
But the funny thing is, like, it actually doesn't have that big of a budget. Like, I think it was
Really?
one of those movies where they all worked for like scale. Like, they didn't get their
Do they all wanna
$20
work with,
million
like,
paycheck. 'Cause
Gary
obviously the
Marshall or
movie would be
something?
like $400 million. But like Love Actually actually worked.
Yeah, it's got
You know?
like half the cast.
It had
first of all.
Okay, so it's had a budget of $52 million,
Wow,
which isn't that much.
that's tiny.
Gary Marshall was one of the most beloved people in Hollywood. Like
Yeah, for
everyone loved
Yeah.
Gary Marshall. So I think this is to use an analogy that it's movie 43, but not to the extent of movie 43.
Oof.
Like
movie
in that
43.
okay, we're going to take these really great actors and just put them in just a movie. Like we're not going to trick these really great actors and make them sign convoluted contracts. We're just going, okay, no, everyone likes Gary Marshall who had this idea to do this film. The biggest problem I have with this film is it retroactively makes me hate Love Actually.
I mean, my biggest problem with this movie is all of it ultimately does end up connecting at some point, but it just feels so rushed.
Yeah.
Like it's so long, but because there are so many stories they're trying to tell, you never spend enough time with any of them to care.
Yeah. Like from the get-go, you're just like, Jessica Alba is not likable at all.
No,
And
not even
you
a
get
little
that
bit.
she's not, doesn't want to get married to Ashton Kutcher. He proposes to her straight off the bat, and then she spends the few minutes you see her in the film like just trying to get away from it. And you're like, okay, so we haven't even gotten any context as to what their relationship was for her to clearly be with him long enough for him to want to propose to her, and then for her just to be like, I don't want to do this. So she's like instantly unlikable. So you're just like, whenever she's on screen, you're like, I don't care about you because you haven't warmed to me. And she's like the first person you see.
Yeah, pretty much. It's weird because first of all, you start the movie and she is completely unlikable. Like you have no reason to believe that this relationship should be going in this direction. But then you have everyone that knows Ashton Kutcher's character being like, oh, I'm so sorry she said no. Oh, she said yes.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be this running joke, but you don't care about it.
And it's also like, and it just makes your friends seem really like mean. Like
they're like trying to baby you.
Yeah, like
life.
have you guys been together? Not like, have you introduced her to everybody, or like has she just been like a bitch to everybody?
Yeah, it's like, has she left the
like,
impression on everyone?
Yeah,
that
or
they
is it
don't
because
want
she's
her
like
to marry him?
Jessica Alba's like so attractive and Ashton Kutcher's not like Ashton Kutcher's not unattractive.
He's like an everyday guy in this movie. He's like, he's in his sweatpants and his shirts, and he's like, I'm just the humble delivery
So
guy
I think
working
maybe
with
it's meant
George
to be
Lopez.
like she's like corporate and up
I don't
like
even know
above
what she
him
does
or
in the movie.
something, But
I don't know.
But
But
then she's
that
in
was
the
just
hotel with her dog.
that was just a weird way to start the movie because
Yeah.
you're already like,
you're already put. You're
What?
just like, okay, I'm not like I'm going to guess you guys don't make it to the end of this movie, so therefore just cut her character out
Completely.
right now.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Make the struggle that he kind of actually likes
like
Jennifer
he-
Garner's character.
Well, he likes her. He runs this flower shop, so then he's always in the face of people being in
yeah,
love.
true.
And then he can't get her. So like, why don't you make that the story of like?
like a romantic comedy based around Ashton Kutcher wanting to get with his friend Jennifer Garner, who's in her own romantic situation with Patrick Dempsey.
Yeah.
That's probably enough of a romantic comedy right there.
That could at least be
true.
your central,
Yeah,
like
that-
real
yeah.
story that you spend the most time with.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, in this movie, sort of is. Like, he's the
Yeah.
central character to a lot of things, but it's not, no one cares. Like, it's not interesting enough for me to be like, yeah, like, I really want him to, like, find love at the end of the movie.
And then
Well-
once it's sort of revealed that Patrick Dempsey isn't this knight in shining armor, you're kind of like, all right, well then why
Straight
are we,
away as
why
well.
are we not bothering with him now? Like,
But they
Yeah.
never make you believe that he's anything other than that.
Yeah.
Like as soon
No,
as he gets up
exactly,
to
yeah.
leave and he's like, "Oh, I got to do surgery tonight."
yeah,
Yeah.
everyone's
You're
like,
like,
No, you're definitely married. Like, there's
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
way you're not. Like,
Yeah,
the,
like they
the whole
haven't-
movie, yeah.
I just want to point out the fact, while we're talking about Ashton Kutcher's character, that he drives around obviously with George Lopez, and that 2010 has now given us 2 chances to see George Lopez in the cinema. So this and Spy Next Door, I just think he had a chance to really bust out into cinema, and he screwed that chance by doing 2 of the worst movies of 2010.
although to be fair, Valentine's Day
He's the
was
best.
like it was a commercial success.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll get to that.
And like, you know, and most of the people in this movie, it was never going to be the movie that would make or break anybody. Like it was we're all established enough that.
I mean, I'm willing to beg to differ with one certain person in this movie because somehow he's worse than she is.
Oh yeah,
Is this the,
we'll get.
this
is the double Taylor because how the hell is Taylor Swift not the worst person in this movie? Like the worst actress.
Oh, yeah.
In this movie, she's about. I wouldn't even call her the bottom 5. Like she's bad.
She plays the part well. She's supposed to be like the ditzy and love schoolgirl who like, and you get that with the news interview when she's just talking about like she's like love struck completely by being with Taylor Lautner, and you get that, and she plays that well. And it's when fucking Taylor Lautner does that. There's the scene where he does the flip, right? And it's the way he just casually walks out of frame, like he's like, "Oh no, I'm not in camera anymore." So there's like no professionalism there. He just like sort of dawdles off. And I was like, "Oh, you are not good at movies." Mr.
I will
Lautner.
admit that Taylor Swift did make me laugh when like I think she's in the elevator and she's like, "It's how you got me this bear,"
Oh yeah,
and she just kind of pauses for a minute, and I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna have a little bit of a giggle at that because it's kind of funny because she's like the ditzy."
There's some genuine, like, okay, maybe not genuine, but there are some moments in this film where I did laugh, where I went, okay, that's pretty funny.
But the fact that she came into this movie and he's supposed to be the hot thing at the time, and she can get nothing out of him.
Yeah.
Oh god, no.
Going back, like
Yeah, it just like it proves that like you are only hired because of how you look, but even like. It's not.
And because
enough.
like Twilight was back then.
Yeah.
So it was
yeah.
like, let's
So,
get
like,
Wolf Boy in there.
Yeah.
So
There's 2 storylines in this whole movie that actually kind of work.
yeah.
Bradley Cooper and Julia Roberts. That was nice.
That's
I
actually
thought
nice.
that was
That's
a
actually
genuinely
really sweet.
like nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I do like where.
And that's the
his
other one.
character-
That's the other story that works
Yeah.
is where Bradley Cooper's character ultimately ends up. I
Yeah.
liked that. That whole thing worked.
I was sitting there and we're watching like the first plane scene, and I was curious where he thought it was gonna go for both of those characters
'Cause I'd never seen it.
He'd never seen it.
Okay.
So like this movie was essentially just me watching him react and like wanting to cry.
Yeah.
So I asked him like where he thought it was gonna go because most people will never guess where Bradley
Yeah.
Cooper's story is
No,
going
yeah,
to go.
no, yeah.
No.
Or Julia Roberts until
No.
the very, very
Yeah,
end, and
yeah.
maybe then you can guess.
Yeah.
But
I was like, oh, she's going for a funeral. Like it's not a guy, it's a funeral. Like,
Yeah.
and that was where I was going because she was not acting like she was going to meet someone she loved.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, well, obviously she is, but it was
not like a romantic.
no,
kind of,
like
No.
it was. Oh, you're going to
because they tried to like bait and switch you because like, oh, she's just the stoic soldier and soldiers don't show emotion, so it's like obviously that payoff is like, yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And I agree, I think that's one of the best.
They're the ones that work. Everything else is rough.
But also on that, I think to have like we can say that Bradley Cooper ends up
Yeah,
being
yeah.
gay,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and he's in a relationship with like a top sportsman, and I was like, in 2010,
Yeah.
that's a pretty
I'm
progressive
not gonna lie.
storyline.
That's
like
I was pretty impressed that they did that. I was like, whoa, okay, didn't expect that.
And it was
and I liked that.
handled really well too
Yeah.
because the way that he's like, oh, we recently broke up, and then you go, oh, they broke up because he wasn't allowed to
Yeah.
say anything,
Yeah.
and he either had to choose his career
yeah.
or him.
And I like
Yeah.
that he's like, he obviously chose his career initially,
Yeah.
but now he's just like, this isn't worth it. And I'm like, let's have a mainstream romantic comedy about 2 dudes because
Yeah.
2020, we are ready. So thank you, Valentine's Day 2010, for at least dropping that in.
It's
that
like it's like the
continuation.
first paved like part
Yeah.
of the pathway.
Yeah.
I mean,
and
and-
especially giving Eric Dane and Bradley Cooper, making 2 like very masculine men.
Yeah.
Like they didn't resort to stereotypes with
No.
these people, which
No.
is really
No.
good. Like it's good to see there's like men can be men who just happen to sleep with men. It doesn't make them immediately like the yeah.
Flamboyantly
there's-
like gay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's one thing that I think it did extremely well, and I will give props to the movie for having the courage to do that. And I thought, okay, no, I remember like we were watching it, and afterwards I was like, okay, Nah, well done. Well done.
And because the whole Eric Dane build up, you kind of don't know it's till the press conference happens, and you're kind of like, what is the point in this story apart from having Jessica Biel and Queen Latifah's not part of that story.
She's the agent.
Jessica Biel and Jamie Foxx are
so much fucking happening in this movie. So Carl's kind of like, is he only there just to create a bit of extra conflict for those two? But then the press conference happens and you're like, oh shit, okay, where are we going to go with this? So I agree.
On Queen Latifah, she's involved with what I believe is
Jacob's favorite part. Let's go.
Involving future Academy Award winner Anne.
She wins an Oscar in 2 years. In 2 years, she wins a fucking Academy Award.
Will you please address our audience and let
it's
us...
obviously honorary for her role in this.
Okay. So, Anne Hathaway is in this movie. Why? I love Anne Hathaway. I think Anne Hathaway is an incredibly talented actress. She plays a sex caller in this film, and it's
an adult entertainer. Excuse me.
Sorry, an adult entertainer.
You don't want to upset the sex callers.
Look, I have nothing wrong with adult entertainment, and I wish, but the film clearly does, because it's just an insult the entire time the way they do this. It's like, oh no, she's just on the phone and playing it for laughs that aren't fucking funny.
Oh, no.
I hated every single scene that she was on screen in this because it was so demeaning to her. This to me was her movie 43. This was just like, I fucking hated this whole moment.
Every time it came up, I was like, oh, it's your favorite scene. It's your favorite Anne Hathaway role.
There's two great payoffs to this storyline, though. The best line in the movie where she answers Topher Grace comes back to the house and they have the chat, and then she answers the phone and she's like, sorry, sugar, I can't do it now. I have to make love to my boyfriend. Like, she actually says something along those lines, which I laughed so fucking hard. Then we get the Queen Latifah payoff.
Oh my God, that's the best scene.
When she's like, what are you saying?
I did laugh at
that's the best scene.
Bow to Chintanita! I thought that was... I was like...
I laughed a lot at that.
I laughed at that. Using the rubber band.
It comes out of no... And you can tell when Queen Latifah said it, she's like, this is the most fun I've had in a movie.
Oh, she's like eyeing that ruler oh yeah, let's go. But I also just want to say, whoever decided that there was good chemistry to be had between Anne Hathaway and Topher Grace in this movie.
It definitely, especially in retrospect, seems like a mismatch.
And he's also, I get that his character's, upset that she hid being a adult phone entertainer from him. But he says some really, mean things to her. And I'm like, if someone said that to me, I'd be like, all right, bye. I know that, it's my job.
Yeah.
So, it's not really affecting anything. She's not actually having sex with other
it's just her
people.
voice. She's not even seeing them.
Yeah. I'm like, she's probably making bank by not doing anything. You could
considered it.
You could reap the benefits of this, man.
Yeah.
I
don't have the voice
and she's
for it,
working out new things that you guys could try together too. She's
you're so missing the point of this.
I just fucking hated that whole thing.
This. Look at us making some positives out of this movie.
We're trying.
Okay, so I'd also like to bring up a storyline that I just think is ridiculous, and it has one of the most genuinely, to me, awkward and hilarious scenes in this whole movie is when they plan to lose their virginity together.
Fuck.
And he shows up at the house and just...
And the mother is weird.
The mother's kind of
The mother's almost just like, I'll take your virginity. She doesn't say that, but the way that she's just it's a bit...
Imagine, I can't imagine my girlfriend's mum walking in and I'm buck naked with a guitar covering my dick and being like, this is normal, don't worry, I play naked because
I'm rehearsing a show.
Yeah, and then sitting there going, yeah, this is all right. I can, you're dating my girlfriend, you're okay, you're not weird at all. Same thing. This movie, who knows? Who knows who's connected to who in this fucking thing?
It's not the same thing.
It's not the same thing.
But,
Okay.
There's a missed storyline opportunity. Wait, Emma Roberts is
that's the storyline I would watch.
I also kind of want to know, like, what the point of having Jamie Foxx in this movie was.
To make one like semi-homophobic joke at the end.
Like
Like,
honestly, from beginning to end, what does his story really do other than to?
Yeah, was this like, had he just won for Ray?
No, he'd won 6 years ago.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's never mind. That I thought maybe it was one of those like
No,
no.
it's been 6 years.
Cool. I'm gonna shut my mouth.
Because the only two scenes I really remember him in is when he has to awkwardly try and teach Jessica Biel how to fist bump.
Yeah.
Because her automatic reaction when he puts the fist up, I put your fist up just for a visual gag, and she goes, like that's the first scene that comes.
But wait,
to her
she's
head.
like the awkward white girl who doesn't realize just how like sexy she is, and it's like you're Jessica Biel.
And then he has the joke where he's like, "We stand behind you," Eric Dane's character, and he's like, metaphorically, like he's like, "Oh, I don't want to, I can't be gay because I'm, sports reporter, man." You know what I mean? Like the moment would have been so much nicer if he didn't say metaphorically.
Yeah.
But like, even without that, there's no real payoff to like.
No.
There's no payoff to him being in the movie at all.
Because like he doesn't really end up with Jessica Biel.
Like he shows up to the party as her date.
Yeah,
but
like there's not like, and because all like they go to the I hate Valentine's Day thing where she's angry, and then Jennifer Garner rocks up and beats the pinata. But yeah, like he's kind of just there.
He's just
like
Jamie Foxx.
They really could have actually like completely exercised Jamie Foxx and probably Jessica Biel, and it probably
I think
wouldn't
so.
have changed anything too much.
I mean, they're and I honestly don't understand why the Taylor's storyline was in there either.
No,
that literally does nothing
because it doesn't go anywhere.
I think it was
Too
just
attractive
like
people.
I think we can get Taylor Swift, who is sort of really starting to become a star. So
the one thing that that storyline has is probably my favorite line from this movie, which is the young lovers, full of hope, full of life, ignorant of reality.
Yeah.
That is
reporter.
Yeah, I think that is. Oh, and the fucking news reporter who's just like, I'm a cameraman who's just going to now wear a suit and fucking what?
But I don't think we finished the Emma Roberts storyline either.
No.
Them kissing in the back of the car is one of the most awkward kisses I think I've ever seen, because he's like, we can make out still, because she's like, I don't know if I want to have sex with you. And then like he leans in really far and they're looking like they're doing the open mouth like pash, but like their mouths are closed. Yeah, that's the mouth pashing. And like, I don't know, I was just watching, I'm like, this is an awkward kiss. Like if I was receiving that sort of kiss, I'd be like, this is why I didn't want to have sex.
They're like,
with
have we kissed before? Like,
it felt like a first date kiss. It was 100% a first date kiss.
and one of the other storylines with Shirley MacLaine and Hector Elizondo.
Jesus Christ.
But I mean, I was like,
sweet.
That is actually really sweet. And I like that, like, because he said that she's an actress. So then, like, at the
end of the film,
when
movie,
they're watching the movie,
in the cemetery,
it's like actually Shirley MacLaine on the screen.
I didn't notice that.
Like, and I was like, it is actually that's actually a really sweet.
I did find it funny though that like they're all screaming, sit down, sit down. It's like, that's the woman you're fucking watching. Like, how do you not realize that?
I like that's kind of funny because I would probably do the same thing. Like, I'm watching a movie, like, sit down. I don't care that you're 70 years old and in love and you're making up with your partner.
Like,
so many
good
years.
for you guys.
Yeah, I paid to watch a movie. Like, I'd be that
I don't
sort
want
of
to
person.
see this open.
But then you're like, oh, wait, but would you be like that if... Oh, wait, hang on. No, that's the actress from the movie we're watching.
Yeah,
maybe.
Like, whatever.
but I think they were like doing that. I think it was supposed to be like you as the viewing audience are supposed to know it's her, but like in that universe, it's not like supposed to really be like.
I thought it was.
I don't think it is.
I thought that was
Like
the whole
she
point that
playing
they went to that movie every year because she was in it.
But I mean, I'm not talking about as a couple. I'm talking about the audience, like in that world.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if that's supposed
fair
to be
enough.
significant.
fair
I think
but
they're probably just seeing two old people standing, being like, sit down and.
but anyway, this movie's a mess. So I can't.
Sucks.
This movie is a
So
hot
long. It's
mess.
over 2 hours long.
That's the other thing I hate. Like, we were watching it and, we had it on TV and we're like, okay, let's just watch this. And then I was like, it's only like 90 minutes, right? Like it's only it's not that long, right? I get my phone out and look at it. It's 2 hours and 5 minutes.
See, I think the worst thing to me about this movie is it just does not make me feel good about Valentine's Day.
No.
Like by the end, I don't have any sort of like, oh, like that's so good. Like Valentine's Day is great. Like it's just, it
just
doesn't even
sucks.
deliver on
Like you'd probably feel more hopeful and like comforted by love by watching like When in Rome.
Yeah.
Like you'd be like, oh, these like, oh, they got together, cute. Whereas this one, you're just like, all right, yeah, they got together.
Well, because
Great.
you get to invest in 2 people in When in Rome, not 20 people
like
in
it's
Valentine's
it's a
Day.
shame that Valentine's Day had stories that would have made probably passable romantic comedies on their own.
Yeah.
Or they needed to maybe just have 3 or 4 storylines and just keep it at that.
This felt like there was a lot more stories than Love Actually. Like,
Oh
and that's
yeah,
the
Love
other
Actually,
thing, like,
Love Actually
hasn't
actually doesn't have that many.
No,
It just
like,
feels
it
like
feels like
it,
it
but
because
when
it's
you
so
think
big.
about
Yeah.
it,
yeah, and again, look, I hate being so negative on this show. I just hated this movie. Like, I really, really hated this movie.
I had
and it
so
just
much fun
sucked.
watching you hate this movie so
Oh,
much. Like
I
that
think
was
that's the appeal. I think you could watch this with a group of people and just rip it apart and then just watch the people who hate watching it.
cynics have a field day on this one. You know, like, I hate love, watch Valentine's Day. Okay.
And with that, I might leave. We can move on to our next movie.
All right, here we go.
Percy Jackson and the
Yes.
Olympiads, The Lightning Thief.
Look at that.
A teenager discovers he is the descendant of a Greek god and sets out an adventure to settle an ongoing battle between the gods. Peter, you look like you really have something you want to say.
If you're the descendant of a Greek god, you're not going to look like Wolfman, who then clearly gone, hey, Zac Efron looked good in 17 again. Let's completely
God, that
emulate
is
that,
so
but
right.
not as good.
Like,
Because 2010, this does not look like at all.
this poster is horrific. This is just like,
They made the poster and then put the X Pro 2 Instagram filter over it. That's exactly what they did. Because it's just so unevenly highlighted. Like, it's kind of dense.
A pose from like an X-Men movie, and just kind of there
Yeah.
should be like claws coming out of
There
his
should be.
fingers, but we'll just put water instead.
One lightning bolt.
and we'll
the
just
X
have
in
him in like jeans and a hoodie.
Oh, yeah.
and,
because
like,
I'm just a
just-
teenage boy who's in over his head. I got to be relatable in my jeans and hoodie.
And once again, like that font is just
Oh, man.
not great.
No. It's really
and it's still
not.
like we were talking about earlier when we were just looking through stuff. Like, it looks like they kind of started to render this almost into like a comic book kind of look, and then went, nah, actually, we'll just leave it like halfway.
We've got to release this.
Yeah.
Like the design guy was only working till 5 p.m. He's got to clock off.
Well, let's talk about Percy Jackson. Now, it's called, in Australia, it's called Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. Obviously, in America, it's called Percy Jackson and the Olympiads, the Lightning
Oh,
Thief.
excuse me, Percy Jackson and the Olympians.
Olympians.
You heathen.
Oh, right.
I think Olympiads are people who are in the
Yeah.
Olympics.
I don't care about this movie. Like, okay.
You were so excited to rewatch
Because
this
you have a
movie.
story.
Okay.
So
I saw this movie 10 years ago. I liked it when I first saw it. This is a exercise in rewatching something that you used to like from your childhood and realizing it fucking sucks. This movie's not good. It's really, really not good. I have never read the novel. My mate has, and he says it is so much better and they miss a lot. But this movie just throws you into a world that clearly Chris Columbus didn't care about at all. Like, okay. A lot of people bring up the fact it's not fair to compare this to Harry Potter. You have to. Harry Potter is the best comparison because, one, they're both directed by Chris Columbus, and two, Chris Columbus cares about Harry Potter, and you can tell he doesn't care about this, and you can.
This was just
tell.
how much am I getting for this?
Yeah.
And then I'll do it. There was no love.
No passion.
because I haven't read any of the novels or anything either when I saw this originally, and I still haven't now. But going into this movie, it just doesn't feel like the world is constructed completely. Like there are pieces of it, and you're kind of just supposed to understand where you're at and what the rules of this universe are without ever getting anything explained to you. And you're supposed to understand the stakes and what the rules in terms of the gods are, and just like how there's this separate worlds that they can move between, like, and none of it is ever really set up.
It's almost like this movie, it was like, oh, is this like the second movie?
Right,
Like, is
right.
there another thing? Oh, this is it? Okay. Because like like almost immediately when he's in class at the beginning, and then like the substitute teacher is like immediately like
Yeah.
you know, and like she's a substitute teacher, so it's almost like we've never had her before, and she never looks at anybody's names or like a list of names, and immediately goes Percy Jackson. So you're like, all right, you're also evil as fuck because of like your face. And then they go to like the museum, and then she reveals herself as the creature,
Whatever it was,
But it's just like that happens so quickly that you're like, oh, I've got nothing to like. I don't know who Percy Jackson is.
Yeah.
I don't really care about who Percy Jackson is. Like they just started
Well,
immediately.
but that's the thing. Like they put him in danger, and then you're like,
Okay. Yeah.
all right.
And then he's just in danger for the next 2 hours.
Yeah,
Like, there's
right.
no real...
And then like, oh, my best friend, who's I thought was like a cripple, has legs like a
Like a centaur? A
Minotaur.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
donkey.
A donkey.
But it's like that.
Like,
The mythical donkey.
and that is my biggest problem with this film, and
Percy
why.
Jackson
Like,
and a mythical donkey.
I think like the second half of this film is a lot better than the first half.
Yeah, I'll
Like
give you
for
that.
me, and that's I think why I remembered liking it is because the second half was like, hey, I like the second half.
Is that pretty much as soon as they get out of the casino?
I think pretty much.
Dude.
I think
Fucking
pretty much.
casino scene,
We'll
dude.
get to the casino. Like there is things about it that work for me, and then there is a lot that just doesn't. But that beginning is so rushed and so like, oh no, here. Again, the comparisons to Harry Potter. Harry Potter spends about 20 to 25 minutes setting up who Harry is, his world. Yeah. You spend 15 to 20 minutes with the Dursleys. And there's a reason for that. There's a reason the Dursleys are not in any of the other films, because you don't need them, but you need them in that first film.
Just to set up who, like Harry Potter, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas in this film, we spend 30 seconds inside the family life, and then we're done, which is, the family life. Wow.
I'm like, Catherine Keener, I thought you were a good actress. And maybe it's because you didn't have, well, you know, it is because you didn't have great material to work with, but she's awful in this.
While I was speaking of Catherine Keener, the scene where she gets pulled by the monster into, I don't even remember half of what I watched. She gets pulled into that underworld realm or whatever.
Yeah.
And like her obviously acting on like ropes and with the CGI, she's not like, she doesn't get pulled up and like flat around. She's just like, what?
And she doesn't, at no moment does
I
she
love
feel
that.
like, it was almost just like, you know that you're going to be okay because none of your actions are ever like, help me. It's just like,
come on,
go
Percy.
save yourself, Percy. It's almost like, you'll see me soon.
This movie has so many like character actors in it, like so many.
Yeah.
You got Joe Pantoliano as like the deadbeat
such a
boyfriend.
Pierce
Brandon T.
Brosnan.
Jackson, Pierce Brosnan.
There's another donkey.
Steve
Mystical donkey.
Steve Coogan
Coogan as Hades.
As Hades.
Rosario Dawson.
Rosario
Yeah.
Dawson.
Looking banging.
And then
Oh,
Alexander
hell
Daddario.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hell
she
yeah.
looks great.
And then, you know,
Alexander Daddario is
and...
the
Uma
girl.
Thurman.
Oh,
Thurman.
Uma
Oh,
Thurman.
she's so bad. She's so
I was like,
bad.
did you not learn from Poison Ivy? When Uma Thurman has to camp it up, she is not good.
No.
Like
It's like
she
a very
give
not
her like serious
self-aware.
material. She's great. I was just like, she's just like, and I get that this is the kind of movie where you can camp it up, but there are certain actresses that I feel camp it up and still keep it grounded somehow.
Yeah,
like,
there's still
I think
that-
like Meryl Streep in Into the Woods, Michelle Pfeiffer in
Yeah.
Stardust, like
Yeah.
people that
Yeah.
are able to sort of go
I got you, man.
like that extra, but still
like
feels
also
real.
the lines that she was given
like, she's
in
not
this
given
movie,
good stuff.
So
like
bad.
it was just like while she's monologuing, I was just looking at him like, what the fuck?
You're
like,
looking at me like you put me through this again.
like
And also, we put on the disc that you own.
Yeah, I own this movie. That
mean,
being said, I own my most hated film of all time. So work that one out.
I mean, we all have those though.
Yes.
Like it's the
Transformers
idea.
2.
Oh, true.
Yeah,
Okay.
fair. We all have those. I mean,
I think look, this movie is rough all around, but the roughest part for me is the big climax at the end because the actor that they give it to
Oh,
the bad guy.
is horrific.
the kid who
The
plays
kid-
Luke
Oh,
is
like
god awful.
what the actual hell?
I didn't expect it.
was
Like, am
that?
I dumb for not? Maybe I wasn't paying enough attention. But when he was the bad guy, I was like, "He's the bad guy." It
Like
caught me off
they
guard.
don't give you enough of him
Yeah,
to
it-
lead you
to-
to
yeah,
that
yeah, for
point.
you to-
Because I remember
that's-
him from the beginning.
That's probably why you were like, oh, he's the bad guy because he's literally like in one scene.
Yeah, he's just at the beginning. And I
Yeah.
thought like,
Yeah, he's in 2 scenes at the beginning to introduce to
Yeah.
establish him, and then suddenly he's the big bad guy.
bad.
Yeah.
Because not only is he the bad guy in this one, he's the villain in the next one
is
as
he?
well.
That's hilarious.
Like he's
I can't wait to watch that
He's their version of Voldemort, and it's like, wait,
I can wait.
what?
yeah.
But
Yeah, it's in
like,
3
but the
years.
problem is when he's in, the 3 whole scenes in this movie he's in, he's not good.
Oh no,
God, no.
Oh no.
Like-
when he comes like out of the portal or whatever, and he's like on the rooftop with Percy Jackson, and he's monologuing. Then I was just like, I can stop like paying attention for a few minutes now. Like I know I'm not gonna miss
A
anything.
part of me was almost just like, I swear to God, if Kevin Durand shows up in this movie, because it seems like something he
so-
would have
Oh,
done.
absolutely.
Just like,
That would've been
No, he was too
oh,
busy filming Legion. Yeah.
True.
And then like and I know that obviously 2010 like special effects
Yes.
weren't at you've got to take that with like that's what they were at in 2010, but like when they make the people big
Yeah.
and you're talking to them when they're normal size, and it's just like, oh, you're literally standing in front of like a giant screen,
Yeah.
and you're not even like your eyes aren't matching.
No,
up.
no.
Like it's so bad.
The CGI is awful in this movie.
And like, I know that's 2000, but I was like, there are movies in 2010 that had pretty good effects.
There's
And this
movies
wasn't
before
like
that
a
had good
cheap
effects.
movie.
No.
Speaking
no,
of
it really wasn't.
the end scene as well, one of my notes was like, so Hollywood is a portal to hell. Like, is that a commentary? Is that Chris Columbus
so
being like, or is
meta.
that? That's what I thought. Because like, as soon as we're like, we're going to the Hades and the underworld, and there's like big Hollywood sign, and I was like, this is somewhat
It's
like,
like, it's almost like, I don't think
This is a metaphorical thing, isn't it?
Do we want to talk about that club scene? Because
Yes.
All right, let's talk about this club scene.
TikTok. I don't know the words, but TikTok's in it. Poker Face is in it, and then my biggest thing is the one guy goes, "It's 1971, dude." I'm like, did they have these songs back in 1971?
What also gets me about that, like, that would have been funnier if he was aged. Like that
Yes, yeah.
would have been funnier if he was actually like 30 years aged, because no, he's still playing this. Oh no, it's 1971. It's like, wait, what?
And then we've been here for 3 days, you guys. And
Yeah.
you're like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
And also, you're all like 15 years old. So you probably should have been tipped off immediately when they let you in. But, we'll leave this guy, like, well, this is the guy that's going to save us. The guy that doesn't realize when he's been let into a club and he's underage. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
just not suspicious.
and then they're
everyone's trying to
continually
push
offering him.
drinks on
Yeah.
him.
Do you want this lotus flower?
oh man,
Which just sounds like a hallucinogenic as it is. Like, do you want to take
Do you
part of
want the
flower?
lotus flower
Yeah.
journey?
We play TikTok here.
Also, my other favorite thing is, okay, we're going to hell. We're going to go to Hades to rescue someone.
Yes.
We're going to rescue someone. 3 of us are going to rescue someone. So we only need 3 transports. You're going to rescue someone. Okay.
So are you saying that they might need 4
Maybe
transports?
they need 4.
Or if they don't have 4, maybe they send 2 of them.
Yeah.
I think the one with the big donkey legs may not fit in a transport, so we can leave him behind.
Like,
I would.
and they play it like, like it's a twist.
Yeah.
They play it like it's a twist. It's like, no, you were just fucking stupid. Like,
It's not like they lost one. Like, it's not like they brought
Like,
4 and lost
That
one.
probably would have at least been like, because then you would have gone, who are they going to choose?
Yeah.
Instead of like, yeah, this is all we've got. So we just got to choose one of you right now.
because we fucked up.
Yeah, legit.
All right, Mum.
Shit.
They
sorry.
filmed the whole movie and then got to that point and went, shit.
Shit.
Like, and Chris Columbus is just like, I gotta go. So
I got
So you guys
pixels to
draw
make in 5 years.
straws,
oh god.
and
good.
and whoever gets the short straw, I guess
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
just
yeah.
how we're gonna write the rest of the movie.
You're kind of
And
just
then,
gonna stay in hell, I guess. Sorry.
But then
Whoops.
looking at it, like, if I'm staying in hell and it's like this kind of cool mansion
kinda
with
like a rock and
Rosario
rollers
Dawson, I'm
mansion.
like, hell's not that bad.
Because Hades is an idiot. Because
Yeah.
you're like, oh, I could just play the game for the rest of my
Yeah,
life.
like-
Like,
Here's the thing about Hades. At first, I didn't like that they cast him. I was kind of going, Coogan. I was like, okay, I kind of wish you cast someone who was genuinely menacing. But then I went, okay, you're actually having fun with this. Like, he is.
God,
and
yeah.
I like that they play on that where he's like, well, would you rather I look like this? I wish then it wasn't a big giant devil. I kind of wish it was someone who looked menacing.
Yeah.
And then they
Yeah.
went, no, I'm looking like this because I'm having fun. This is what I want to
Who
be.
would have been a
Yeah.
2010 menacing actor?
Probably Mark Strong or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Mark
you know what I
Strong.
mean? Like, just someone who is just in there for 30 seconds.
Javier Bardem.
Yeah, like, hell, hey, Alan Rickman even. He's worked with
yeah.
He's worked with him. Like, that.
I know.
Like, but that type of role, like, you know, just this 30-second cameo, that could have been funny and cool.
Yeah.
Whereas but it worked for what it was in that moment. And I thought he actually played it pretty well.
Yeah.
Sean Bean as Zeus was
Oh fuck!
weird.
I forgot he was in that.
Completely forgot Sean Bean was in this. But you
I
know
watched
what?
this
At
like a
least he
week
didn't
ago.
die.
he lives. He lives.
Like, good for you.
I mean,
Oh.
he's sitting there at the end, like, why didn't they kill? Why am I still on this movie?
Why is this the one I survived in?
This movie sort of, to me, solidified the fact that, like, Christopher Columbus, sorry.
Christopher Columbus Day.
He had like a similar career trajectory to Tim Burton, where they both like started out so solid and obviously making movies that they really liked and they had their artistic flair on, and then they just both delve in these sort of extremely mediocre fantasy-esque
Just got
biopics.
money.
Well, yeah, that's it. They're like, I'll just make this CGI fuckfest because I'm getting a bit of dosh for it. And then we're obviously going to see it again in a few weeks with Tim Burton and Alice in Wonderland. So, like, and they're both, and neither of them have really redeemed. I know Tim Burton had big eyes, but Chris Columbus hasn't really had anything that I loved. in the
Chris
past.
Columbus has had one film other than this decade, and it was called Pixels.
Pixels, yeah.
Yeah.
Dank Dosh.
That dank dosh, man.
Like I said, look, this is
What the
not a
cool
good
kids are
movie
saying.
at all. It
I
broke
feel like
my heart.
I was like gonna say it's like it clearly broke you so hard.
Okay, Valentine's Day is a much worse film. Like, it is Valentine's Day is a
It's not
absolute.
good,
but
it's
I
not a
would
well-made
rewatch
movie.
Valentine's Day.
Yeah,
over
before
Percy
I watched
Jackson.
it. Yeah, I know.
Okay. This one broke my heart because I remember liking it.
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
remembered
I
going,
get
no,
that.
I liked this. And no, it was just not good.
Because we were all like in our group chat, we were all like, we hate Percy Jackson.
Yeah.
We were like, oh, I like it. And we thought, oh, it'll be like us against him. And then he was
Then
like,
you
"I
watched
like
it.
We're just like, oh, good, you're one of us now.
And it was kind of heartbreaking, to be fair. It's like,
Yeah, I was like, oh, it's like we just like ripped out his heart. It was like,
But I also was sitting there on the couch, like, all right, you get your taste card back. Like, all right. You can
until like the Expendables.
yeah, until like something in a
Yeah.
couple of weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Alright.
speaking of taste card, let's move on to our next movie. We are, of course,
Awkward
talking
segue.
about the Wolfman. Well, the fact that we're
Wow.
probably all about to lose ours. So,
maybe.
Oh God, that frickin' poster! Look at that beauty.
yeah. Upon his return to his ancestral homeland, an American man is bitten and subsequently cursed by a werewolf.
That is you know what? That is a sexy beast right there.
That is, yeah.
Like,
I mean, the
that is-
like
that
the
is-
really nice shirt
Yes.
that's just like
that is
bloodied and
thick
ripped.
THI-double-C. Yes.
Oh, wow.
They've got the staples. They've got the Wolfman, and they've got the moon.
dude.
That's
I
all
actually
they need.
I think this is perfect.
And I
like
like
it's
for the movie.
And this is one of
Yeah.
those ones where it's like having it look like a drawing is perfect for like the aesthetic of that film. I
The
think.
one thing that I think is really stupid about this poster though is look up the top. How they've gone, oh crap, we need to put the name somewhere. So no, we need to put the name somewhere, but they can't fit with the black background. So we need to put the blue over the top to just make sure they stand out.
Yeah.
It's just like
I see that now.
Just looks so silly.
Like it should have
just lower it a little bit.
Yeah.
Like but
anyway, but
Anyway.
I'll put it underneath.
put it underneath the Wolfman. Oh, whatever.
Anyway.
Benicio del Toro is the Wolfman or something. But anyway, other than that,
I don't know. I like this poster.
Yeah,
I think it's
best
cool.
out of the three.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it does.
Definitely the
It
best
really,
favorites.
it does fit the aesthetic of the film, though, for sure. I think.
Yeah, definitely does. Look, all
because
right.
I don't know if because I watched the extended cut.
Yes, so did I.
And I don't know if it's the same thing, but like at the beginning of the extended cut, they used the old school
Universal logo.
Yeah, it's the same
is that
thing.
the same?
Yeah.
Okay. 'Cause I
Well,
heard
we just watched whatever was on iTunes, so I
Okay.
don't actually know which
It's
version.
probably, I think.
No, because the director's cut only has the old school Universal logo. The theatrical cut.
So is
had
that the one
modern
that you
Universal
watched?
logo.
The old school one?
Did you get the normal Universal
No,
logo?
actually, I think we got the black and white.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
so that you
So
saw
we've
the
all watched.
extended
I think
cut.
we've all
Yeah.
watched
Oh,
the same
okay.
version.
It's like a
Okay.
10-minute
Yeah.
extra extended.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Well, I really liked this movie a lot.
I thought it was good.
It's a little bit slow in its pacing at times, but I thought it was a really great way to tell this story. I think that the end really pays off well when you get to just all the chaos kind of coming together and everything going upside down.
Yeah.
And the slow build to that point, I think, really works. I mean, it's not a perfect movie by any means, but I think that Benicio del Toro and Emily Blunt are great in this movie. And I just had a lot of fun with it.
I think the biggest strength of this film is when we first see him go full Wolfman. Like, and I mean, like, so there's technically the second time, but because the first time it's very in the shadows and we don't really see him do it. The second time when he's in the streets and after the after the scene where the idiot doctors are like, oh, he's not going to turn into a Wolfman, and you're just sitting there going, you're all dead.
Yeah. You're going to get impaled on a fence, which is what happens.
But that whole sequence, I was smiling ear
Yeah.
to ear because it was just so much fun. The build up to it is a little slow, but it works for it to a degree for me. Like there's a lot that works. There's a lot that takes its time that was a little too slow.
Like
but
I think because Benicio del Toro, like he was like, this is like almost like a passion project for him. Like he very much wanted to tell this story, and I think that was probably why it took its time, because he was obviously like, no, I really want to make this character someone that we actually care about. Like even though he's the villain in some way, like, you know, but everyone that he's killing for the most part is.
It's more of an anti-hero.
Yeah.
Sort of
Yeah.
situation.
But like you sort of like, you're never like, you're always like on his side.
Yeah.
I guess. Like, you know, it's like kind of
You're
against him.
like
He can't-
wanting him to.
yeah, like he can't help that he's turning into a wolf.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that he was so committed to this movie sort of helps. Like his performance, like he's very, like he's, to me, like Benicio del Toro is usually a bit off kilter. Like he's always a bit over the top almost. And I think this one, like he seemed really grounded. Like he made this like an actual person watching it. Yeah.
So my thing with these movies, like the Wolfman's a story that I get what you're saying, that, oh, hey, we care about this guy. He's an anti-hero. And like, it took me a little bit to get into it. And I'm kind of sitting there going, oh, I don't know if I'm enjoying this.
Yeah.
But then the reasons why I think this movie is a good movie and why I would recommend it is the practical effects are incredible.
Yeah.
Like they lean into the storytelling that they tell, like the way they tell the story. It's like, okay, no, they know what they are, where they're like, oh, we're going to go full Celt on practical effects. We're going to go full Celt on the gore, the violence. And they decide to have fun with it. And that's where I'm really enjoying it. Whereas in the stuff with the character and the stuff with that, I didn't really care for. I didn't think it was that interesting. Just the fun of the violence and the over the top.
But that is also like the payoff. Like you sit through there going, okay, it is taking its time. We do kind of want to get to him being a wolf, but then when he is the wolf and he's just slaughtering people left and right, you're like, this is the payoff.
Yeah.
And when he's the wolf, it's actually a man. Like it's not CGI, it's a man running. Yeah. The CGI is obviously when he's transforming, and because it's 2010, it doesn't look seamless, but they keep it in the shadows enough, or they edit it well enough that you're like, I don't care that this doesn't look super polished. And from what I understand, they wanted to do pretty much everything practical, but it went through 5 or 6 directors, and then I think they hired
Joe Johnston
like 3 weeks
it wasn't
before they started. So
yeah.
he was like, we have to use some
CGI.
And for a 2010 film, it was also filmed in 2008.
Yeah.
So it had a bit of time.
It was one that, and I think that also hurt it. A lot of people were like, this movie was meant to come out so long ago, and it just kept
getting pushed
and it's
back.
and Valentine's weekend, a bit of a weird
choice. a weird one for Valentine's Day weekend.
But maybe like counter programming, they thought.
Yeah. So this is kind of funny because I share the same thoughts as everyone. Like I was like, it's slow. It takes a lot to build up. I think a lot of the payoff is quite good. I think the cinematography is quite nice for most of the film. And the performances, especially Benicio and Emily Blunt, are quite good. But I didn't like this movie at all. In fact, I resented watching it once I got towards the end because I was like, it's one of the movies like earlier on in January where I like watched it and I was like, I actually felt like I wasted my time with this movie. And that's very unlike me because I've been the idiot for most of this show. I've liked the dumb movies. And this is the first time I think that I've watched something and I've gone, the payoff wasn't good enough for me. It's violent, it's gory, and then I was like, but this is completely different to what you've just built up for me. Like, if it had stuck a bit more to its guns and been more of like as dumb as this sounds, like a Wolfman and trying to investigate who killed his brother more so rather than just making that the first act and then the second and third act being more so the doctors and stuff and then the reveal with how his family is the long line of Wolfmen or whatever. I feel like that would have been a bit more tonally consistent than what we got. Because I sat there and watched the action scenes or the gore scenes and I was like, yeah, all right, cool. We'll wait for the next one. And then nothing happens. And then I'm like, oh, yeah, cool. I'll wait for the next one. And then, yeah. So, I don't know. I just really didn't like this movie. And that surprised me. So, yeah.
I kind of disagree with everyone, to be honest with you.
Fair enough.
I think that the payoff isn't in the action at all. The action's fun. It's gory, whatever. That's fine. The payoff to me is the story that they make you sit with until you get to that point, and then at the end, she has to fucking kill him.
Yeah.
And if you don't spend all of that time believing that okay, he's here because, his brother's dead, but also this is his wife and she's distraught too. Yeah. And then you're like, oh, okay, like she's going to go home. Oh, but now there's another family crisis and you're building it and you're getting there and then they're spending more time together and you can tell that they're leaning on each other and you get to this whole thing where suddenly she has this reason that she needs to be there and she's invested in this still, even though they're not. Their attention obviously has to have wavered from the brother at this point because he's fucked and they don't know why. Yeah. And then you get to the point of all the action, all the crazy shit, whatever. But then the ending still matters because this woman who, her whole fucking world is destroyed by the end of this movie. Her husband's gone. His brother, who she also had feelings for after this whole journey, is gone. Like, the dad's dead.
She has to kill as well. Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah.
So the payoff to me is the end where Emily Blunt is just like, fucking what the fuck? Like, I had to shoot this guy, like, to set him free, even though I've literally gone to the ends of the earth to try and find a way to help him that's not killing him.
Yeah.
And then, like...
You know what? In saying that as well, that makes more sense to me as probably why Benicio wanted to make this story, because he doesn't come across to me as the sort of actor who's like, I'm ready to make some big budget fucking gore fest.
Yeah.
Like, that scene to me seems like the movie he wants to make. And I think, I mean, for me, that didn't go over my head, but it obviously didn't hit me as hard because I wasn't invested as much as possible. Whether that's the movie's fault or my fault, I actually don't know. But I agree with what Taylor's saying.
Because they actually made 3 endings where the ending we got where she shoots him and he's like, thank you.
Yeah.
And then you sort of assume Hugo Weaving is the
new Wolfman. He's going to become.
Yeah.
And then they filmed one where I think Benicio del Toro survived and sort of went off into the wilderness. And then they filmed one where Emily Blunt got bitten in the attack. Oh. And she was like the howl at the end. So they sort of, and then they were like, the studio were just like, we don't want her to be hurt. So it's like actually like physically hurt. Yeah. So they went with, we've got to keep it the way it is. And I think it probably ended the best way. Like Benicio del Toro's character being like, thank you. Like he's like set free from this, this curse.
But also their family ultimately is too by the end of the movie.
So it's kind of like they've all been put out of their misery in some way. Yeah. I mean it's sad that she then is like,
so that's what I mean. At the end, she's just like,
I don't even
there's now another Wolfman that I have to deal
with. No, and she's like, now's the
Yeah.
time that I fuck off because
like another Wolfman who had also been like trying to kill as well. Like, damn it. And Hugo Weaving, perfect villain.
Yeah,
dude.
Always so good though. As
Hugo Weaving, I thought was really good in this. Like, I thought he was really good. Look. The one actor who I think is not good in not good in Matt might be
acting in the wrong movie.
Yeah, he doesn't know what movie he's in, and that's Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah,
I agree. He's so tonally completely different.
In a over the top campy horror movie, and everyone else is in this very like serious gothic,
this Victorian era drama about a murder.
But I mean, watching Benicio del Toro and Anthony Hopkins turn into wolves and eat the shit out of each other is just like peak cinema.
Like,
so good.
That whole scene, I was just like, oh my god, this is ridiculous and amazing, and I want more of it.
And I loved that like Benicio del Toro is like, he kept his shirt on so that we knew which one was which. Because they look the same.
They're the same. Well,
so it's like, we'll keep it.
Son,
Benicio del Toro can keep his like shirt on that. Same thing with like the Hulk. It's like it magically stays on your frame because Benicio del Toro isn't like a hulking guy.
No, and the Wolfman's a big thing. One of the funniest things in this film, and I don't know if anyone else picked it up, and I laughed when I saw it, is Anthony Hopkins is going around blowing out all these candles, but they're obviously electric candles, like for the movie, because he blows it out and they all do this slow fade to a little. But he blows out like 6 of them in like a one-shot take, and I'm just sitting there. It has no ramifications of any other part of the movie, but I sat there and I was like, that's funny. That's kind of funny to watch him just go. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen a flame go out, but it doesn't take that long.
Oh god.
But yeah, that's the Wolfman. I think we've got 3 recommendations and 1.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it, to be fair.
Fair enough.
I would definitely recommend it if you like the kind of gothic kind of movies, because as probably the only person within a 100-mile radius of this place that liked Crimson Peak.
I was going to actually ask you what you thought of Crimson Peak.
I loved Crimson
Oh my
Peak.
god, thank you so much. I've met someone else. I had to go to the other fucking side of the world, but I met somebody else.
Nah, Crimson Peak is,
Oh my god.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, so in 5 years, that's going to be some conversation.
Birds of Prey and Crimson Peak.
I know, dude.
Oh.
All right. Box office results, guys. We had number 1, Valentine's Day, opened to $56 million.
It made its budget back.
And they wonder why we got 3 more of these god-awful films.
And also saying that about Valentine's Day, it is the best of this seasonal
the 3 of them.
ones that we got.
So what were the others? New Year's Eve
and
Mother's Day.
I never saw Mother's Day, and New Year's Eve was god-awful trash. Number 2, The Wolfman with $31.4 million.
That's pretty good.
Percy Jackson with $31.2 million.
Ooh, that was close, actually.
Avatar is down to number 4 with
Yeah.
23.6.
That box office flop.
And then, no, funny, Dear John beat it last week. This week, Dear John's at 16 million.
It did what it had to do, and then it sat down.
It's just like
All the conservatives saw it opening week, and then no one else saw it after that.
Tooth Fairy with 6 million, From Paris with Love with 5.4 million, Edge of Darkness with 4.8 million, Crazy Heart with 4.2, and When in Rome with 3.6.
Halfway through that list, it just like halves itself.
Oh yeah.
Like
yeah.
it goes down to 16, and then all of a sudden it's like
That's a huge box
Yeah.
office. That's 110 million
Yeah.
between the top 3 movies.
Which,
so.
it's very rarely does that happen.
Especially in February.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, look at what they had in January. Everyone's like, we can go to the movies again, finally.
dropped off from last week. Book of Eli dropped from 7th. Legion dropped from 9th. And Sherlock Holmes dropped from 10th. All right. In major film news.
here we go.
Vin Diesel and director David Tony officially announced the third Chronicles of Riddick film has been greenlit. It would eventually be released in September 2013. So 3 years before we actually get it.
Vin Diesel is such a champion for his movies. Hey, he seems to push so hard for his because we've seen it with Fast and Furious, and then we obviously saw it with Riddick. So I was excited when this movie was coming out because I'm a fan of at least of Pitch Black. Chronicles of Riddick, not so much. But
I had never seen any of them until I saw Riddick, and I still haven't seen the other two. So I'd
say watch Pitch Black.
Pitch Black is good.
Pitch Black's good.
But that's also from memory.
yeah, and that's also made in 2004.
We
so-
also-
No, I think it's 99.
Oh, 2004 must have been the sequel.
Yeah,
We also know
2004 is
how
the sequel.
memory can
Yeah.
completely...
Oh, yeah. No, memory's 100% accurate. It is officially confirmed that the final Twilight book, Breaking Dawn, will be split into 2 films. So that was official.
Was this was the first one to do this? Did it before Harry Potter or Harry
No,
Potter?
Harry Potter. Harry Potter has already been confirmed that 2
Right.
films are being made. They're being released in the end of this year and July next year.
Yeah.
Twilight was the second one to
Okay,
do it.
so
and
Twilight
then-
are copying? Do you think they're like?
I think so.
Yeah.
Because Breaking Dawn, especially after I haven't read the book, but Breaking Dawn, just watching the movies did not need to be 2 films. Whereas in I've never met anyone who has actually read Deathly Hallows and has seen both films and gone, they didn't need to be 2 films.
Yeah, okay.
There are some people who think the first part is too slow and nothing really happens, but most of those people I don't think have really read the books.
But and even
It sets up the second movie so
yeah,
well. Though,
I
so-
agree with you. Yeah.
And so Disney's Rapunzel is now titled Tangled. This caused as great as this movie is, this caused so much controversy.
I know it did.
This
People
caused
were
so
up in arms
much
about this.
controversy because everyone was like, "Oh my god, that would be like calling Little Mermaid beached." Like it would be. It was, but it's that type of thing. Yeah.
Oh my god. I want... And it needs to be beach, please.
But that's it was that type of reaction where it was like, what? Because the reason they did it, Disney did it because Princess and the Frog had just not done very well, and the angle and the people that
Finally, they called it Lily Pad.
well, yeah, but the people they wanted boys wouldn't go see a movie called Princess and the Frog. But they might that was their reasoning at the time. I think they're wrong, but
Yeah.
So
yeah.
look, it clearly worked. Tangle makes 500 million at the box office. I think it does more than that actually, and it clearly worked. So
And then gets snubbed by the Oscars.
yeah, well, Toy Story 3 came out.
Gave us...
Is Tangled 2010?
Yeah,
No, we'll get it this year.
It's
Okay,
the end
cool.
of this year.
I know, I'm so freaking excited.
All right.
it's so
Sony
cute, it's so
Pictures greenlights 21 Jump Street and dates it for August 2011. In the press release, Channing Tatum is not yet announced. However, Phil Lord and Chris Miller are confirmed, as is Jonah Hill.
Nice.
I love...
Because Jonah Hill was
Jonah Hill was the one who pushed
the
for
movie,
it.
yeah.
So, and lastly, this is my favorite news story. The Hughes brothers, fresh off Book of Eli, sign on to direct the live-action Akira movie.
Oh,
Wow.
the Akira movie that we have never received.
This
Still don't
film
have it.
will ultimately still be in development hell 10 years later.
At the last I heard was Taika Waititi was
Taika
attached.
was
Taika
doing
was
it.
attached.
He's
Okay.
no longer doing it
He's dropped
I think
anymore.
maybe it's
Yeah.
just, you know what?
Just
Akira is we don't need it. Let it...
Yeah.
Just leave it alone.
the animated film is brilliant. It is definitely one of the best manga adaptations ever. it's going to be one that I don't think can be replicated in real. It's sort of like almost like a Golden Compass thing, where like a book is
Scarlett
so
Johansson
good.
away from it for one thing.
I mean, if they change the name to maybe like Motorcycle, I mean, we could get a bit more of a. We'll just say give it the Disney effect.
Yeah, and that's the news for this week. And in Australian release dates, all 3 of these films opened in Australia this weekend. It is the only time all year it will happen. Every other time that they're
keeping up with them, hey?
Yeah, this is the only time all year that all 3 major films released will open in Australia on the same day.
And I saw both on opening weekend.
Oh, which one didn't you see?
I didn't see Percy Jackson.
Oh,
I saw Wolfman about 3 months later at a movie marathon night. That's it. That's that. I didn't see any of these in theaters.
no, I didn't see any of them.
I did the cheesy thing and was like, do you want to go see Valentine's Day on Valentine's Day?
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
Well, Valentine's Day was on the Sunday, so
Yeah.
yeah. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us this week on 10 Years On. I've been your host, Jacob Lund. I want to thank my wonderful panel for joining us this week. You guys can find them all at the descriptions down. You can find them all in the description down below.
All the links will be down there.
Yep. Let us know in the comments if you've seen these films. What did you think? Did you enjoy them?
Have you been watching along with us? Because
Yes.
if you have, you are very dedicated.
Very much are. Next week, guys, we have a good movie.
Yeah.
We have
What do we got?
Shutter Island and The Ghost Rider.
We have 2 good
We have
movies.
2 pretty good movies.
Yeah,
I'm not
actually.
gonna lie.
That's right.
2 pretty good movies. Guys, until next week, my name is Jacob Blunden, and we will see you next time.